being profitable without any direction is like a beautiful multi-million-dollar sailboat without a rudder. You're out there wherever the wind's going to carry you. And it's hard to understand if you've not obtained profitability yet, but it's a problem being profitable. It sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds like this can't be true. How can you have a problem being profitable? But yet you do once you get there. Because you start wondering, okay, well, I've been making this much, this consistently. I do have losing trades, but I come out on top over the course of the week or the month. But where do I go next? What do I do with it? The exercise of just doing it alone is honing your experience and your edge. That goes without saying. But where do you go? What do you aim for? What are you trying to do? What structure should you start applying to your business of trading? See, it's not enough to say, well, I want to make $1 million, because $1 million is not a lot of money. I've already spent $1 million this year, and I don't have much to show for it. But you have to have a goal. You have to have something to aim for. And there has to be a structure behind that. So one of the series I had intended to do once I completed the private mentorship stuff, and we're done now, that I would sit down and kind of give a public blueprint of what I wish I would have been given as a 20-year-old. Just discovering profitability, figuring out that, yes, I could be consistent with bonds. Yes, I could be consistent with the S&P. And I put away all the mega trade. I have to do only those types of setups, where the big run-ups in the marketplace. I was only focusing on that because Larry Williams said that's where I should be focusing. And because I was looking for that all the time, there was all these trades that were occurring daily, weekly, monthly, that I was really not paying attention to or even aware of because I didn't have the skill set at the time. I was profitable, but I was looking for big trades most of the time. So I would do a bond trade or an S&P trade and one contract, and then realize that I'm consistent with one contract. And you've recently saw me this year just do one contract of the S&P and NASDAQ and double the account. That was a real account. And I showed losing positions. I did all kinds of things to handicap myself and still doubled the account. So for some of you, 100% return sounds too lofty, but I can tell you what you've already been given is easy to obtain that. But you have to have the skill set and discipline to adhere to picking your right setups and trying not to trade every single day. I want to have a setup that gives me a consistent framework that goes into the marketplace that even a neophyte that doesn't have a long time behind them of profitability, but just recently found consistency with this model on YouTube, that they can go in and feel comfortable. This is the setup I'm looking for. It makes sense. It's there. I can engage it. And then once it gets to a profit objective, stop, turn the computer off, and go do something else. That's what I have in mind for the new developing, recently profitable student with this mentorship. But you now have a problem, don't you? You want to do more. You want to do more. You want to trade more, just like I started thinking, well, I'm doing one contract. And I was trying to make $1,000 a month to save so I could retire at 40. I was willing to put those 20 years in. But then I realized that, wow, I could do $1,000 a week with no real effort. This is a lot easier than I thought it was. Now, don't let me mislead you, folks. This is the 20-year-old that was getting lucky. And I started thinking to myself, wow, I could do this every week. And then it became, well, I could day trade the bonds. I'll look at the divergence between the 5, 10, and 30 year. And when they're diverging and I have a bias that's bullish, I know I can go in and buy it. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Then I started making $1,000 a day. So I'm 20 years old and I'm looking around at my friends and they're working like one guy's working at a gas station, another guy, he's working at a meat market where he's cutting up meats and such. And they're doing okay, I guess, for, you know, our age bracket. And I'm doing $1,000 a day in less than 45 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, you know, I can do a lot more if I started trading more contracts. Because making $1,000 a month, that really just didn't do it for me. Once I started doing it consistently, I was like, it's too easy. I need more, like anybody else. So I went in and started trading more contracts, and then realized $17,000 a week, that jobs are now obsolete and stupid to me. I mean, why would I want to work when I can do this? So I started trading even more. I didn't have a direction as to where I wanted to go. Now let's contrast that with how I started. November 5th, 1992. Thursday evening at 9 o'clock in my aunt's family room, I cracked open that lame book by Ken Roberts, and that's not to be disrespectful, but I thought that I had figured it all out. That simple little book was going to do it for me. All it did was give me the fire to start doing it. But I had a direction. I had a goal. What was the goal? If I could make $1,000 a month and save that, by the time I'm 40, I'll have $1 million. And honestly, I didn't understand the effects of inflation. I didn't think about all those things. I just wanted to have $1 million, because back then, $1 million, that was really something. $1 million is nothing now. Homes cost that now, and they're not even really worth it. Period. Okay. A lot of people out there on social media saying, I got $1 million house. No, you have a house that's overpriced. Okay. And the home that I purchased that I'm speaking to you in right now, I paid $638,000 for. Is it worth it? No. They're saying I could get $750 for it now. Is it worth it? No. So $1 million is not a lot of money. But in the beginning, when I sat down that Thursday evening at 9 o'clock, at the completion of reading that book, because I read it from cover to cover, I couldn't put it down. Before I went to bed, I had pen and paper out, and I'm calculator crazy, clicking the buttons. Okay, if I do this, if I do that, you know what I'm talking about. You've done it too. You're sitting at your job, you're sitting there bored. Over the weekend, you can't wait to start trading. Okay, if I go in there, I get 10 pips this day, I get 10 more pips over here. And you know, you're nodding your head, you're smiling, you're laughing, you know exactly what it is. You're calculator crazy. Okay. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you start saying, I want to make millions and millions of dollars in your first year, that's stupid. But what I was doing was I was coming up with a way where if I just did the lowest objective and say with losing trades, and I eke out a net gain of $250 a week, that's $1,000 a month. That's obviously taking an effect for taxation and commissions. So I was preparing myself to have adversity. I was preparing myself to be imperfect. And I had structure to what I was doing, why I was trading. I'm trying to eke out a net gain after all costs and taxation of $250 a week.
And I don't want to be here.
Now, there's an average of 4.3 weeks per month. Not every month has just 4 weeks. Some of them have 5. But I did the math simply on 4 weeks.
More
and
interested in
$250 a week. So that would give me my $1,000. And I was going to stick to that. I was going to work a job. I don't care, because when I'm turning 40, I'm not going to be working for the man. I'm not going to be doing those things everybody else does. The structure of me doing that, once I started making money, I abandoned it. So in other words,
I know you've been with me, and I know I'm here.
When you have a vision, you have a plan for your future, it's best to obviously write it down.
Like, what do I have to show for it?
Write it down, so that way it's codified and you know this is what you're aiming for. Something strange happens. There's a metamorphosis that occurs when you start making consistent money. Everything goes out the window. It's like casino time. You lose all aspirations for being structured about everything you're doing. You're just saying, well, let's just see what happens if I do this many contracts and I try to hold for this much. Something's changed, not for the better. So over years of looking back and looking at journal entries and the times where I struggled and the times where I had epiphanies where it felt like I was really gaining in my understanding, it was when I was referring back to having structure in the way I was trading. Not in the sense that optimal trade entries or order blocks in their infancy, none of those types of things. I'm talking about the structure of what it is I'm doing as a trader. What's the motivation? What's my goal? They have to be specific, because if you don't have specific goals, you won't know when you're going outside the lines and boundaries of what would lead to realistic results getting to that objective. Would it be reasonable for me to expect a net gain in 1992 of $250? I know some of you are laughing, thinking, $250? This guy's showing $7,000, $10,000 days. Humble beginnings, folks. That's where you're at right now. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be ashamed of it. Everyone starts there, but most people fail right there. They don't ever come out of that. You have to have a very, very low-hanging fruit objective, and then increase that gradually. Very, very small, slow, incremental, modular gains. That's how you do it. If you jump and you think, okay, I have a low-hanging fruit objective, I hit it, I've been hitting consistently. All right, now I'm just going to go, I want $10,000 a month. You're going to fail.
Look at that.
Because you didn't make that transition from $250 a week
and I already know
to $500 a week to $750 a week to $1,000 a week
I'm not monetizing
to $1,500 a week. That's a gradual increase. You get acclimated to the risks, the feeling of putting on that type of trade as it grows exponentially. You don't even know what that feels like. You have no idea what that feels like. And the wins are scary as hell. They're so scary. Yes, I said it right. The wins, not the losses. The losses haven't really stopped you from trading. As long as you had money in your account, you kept taking trades. So that's not a fear factor for you. You're smiling again. That wasn't a deterrent for you to stop trading. As long as you had money in there. Oh, I lost? Okay, well, I'm pissed off now. I'm going in. I'm going to go in there for more. And they're going to pay me with interest. Oh, yeah. The interest was paid. You paid it. Now you're in greater drawdown or you're blowing your account, like I did dozens of times over my career. There's no shame in that. You have to learn from those things. But you are going to be doing things at a slower pace. That's how you make ends meet. Things are hard. The markets are hard right now. I've said this throughout this year, and my private mentorship knows this as well. Things just are not as clean as they usually are. And it's not surprising. But it's not impossible. Obviously, you've seen that. So you have to pick your shots. You have to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, when you're doing it, and when to avoid it. That's part of your trading plan. But what are you doing as part of your growth plan to make ends meet? Where are you going to start? Where's your low-hanging fruit threshold? What are you aiming for? Well, one of the things I like to teach is, and where did I get the $1,000? I don't have a specific reason for $1,000. I just felt that $1,000 to me at that time was a lot of money. And if I could save it every single month, nobody in my family was saving $1,000 and they were working. So I'm thinking, I'm working as a vendor, filling up candy machines and servicing soda and snack and cold food machines and coffee machines. And then when I would study, I would be by myself. If I can save $1,000 a month, I'm doing better than everybody else. And they can laugh at me that I'm making less than $300 a week, but I'm saving $1,000 a month. That's how I looked at it. So while most people were looking at me when I would tell them what I was trying to do, I was going to learn how to trade and make money in the markets, the commodity markets, at that. They would crinkle their nose up at me and say, dude, are you serious? Like, you're going to lose your ass in that. You're going to lose your shirt. There's no way you're going to find profitability. People go broke and kill themselves. And that's true. And honestly, by the grace of God, I didn't do those things that would have led to those types of decisions. Not that I would have harmed myself, but I've known people that these markets have caused them to check out. And it's sad. because they put too
Everything
much
I
stress
told
on themselves
everyone
in the beginning.
in 2016 that we
See, that's
all
what educators
watched,
do
like,
wrong.
endured.
And admittedly,
Like,
when I first started teaching, way before I should have in 1996,
at the time when I was saying it, I didn't know where it was coming
I didn't
from.
incorporate this in my teachings. I was teaching
But I spoke
go
it,
for broke,
and it
get
had,
rich or die trying, that
so
type of
Trump would be
mentality, everything all
the
in,
fall guy, and the world economies would be affected.
without being vulgar. I
And
almost went
America
there.
would be Venezuela 2.0. And
I
we were seeing the early stages of that.
did not incorporate what I was learning at the
Not having any
time,
more net
which
is gonna
was
turn me off again, but
small little incremental shifts in growth, going higher and higher gradually. And when I
you
would
might
get
call it
the
visit.
big run-ups in my equity as a new trader,
You might call it
admittedly, I couldn't
this world.
tolerate that excitement, that
Many of you are gonna think
overzealous feeling of,
that's fine.
I just made more money than my entire
I've already
family
said,
collectively in a
$5
year,
million, it says,
just
none of you
this
can find
week.
what I've been teaching exists in print.
That's
All
too
your
much for a
formats
young
were
man,
video format before
especially from
1996.
where I came from. Like, it's unfathomable.
Nobody
It's a
ever
scary,
says that
overwhelming,
things
intimidating
come with
feeling.
receipts.
And the only way I could make myself
Social media just gives
believe that it was real was I had to do it again, right away.
ability to feel like we
Otherwise,
can say anything we want.
it was luck. And sometimes I would get lucky
There's
again.
a large people,
But eventually,
of the community and people
pushing my luck and trying to do better than the last 2 trades, 3 trades,
without
more
doing any
risk,
investigation on our
no
own.
stop. It's going to go in my favor because the last
You can't
3
time
did,
markets, and I'm showing you.
over leveraged,
I'm showing you
and then the
things
account
that
gets blown.
have always been in
So
price.
what I discovered and how
never
to
been
prevent that
trade
was I came up with a way, like I first started. I had realistic, absolutely easy objectives. Now think about this. I'm the guy that's already proven I've got millions of dollars and I've made millions of dollars and I can trade really very well. And I'm consistent. I'm the guy that's sitting down with you right now telling you, you should be aiming for about $250 a week. And it's laughable to some of you right now. I know. I'm not talking to you. But there's a lot of folks that have not found consistency yet. They just breached that now I can be profitable, but you just arrived. You just got there. And this is where everybody without discipline blows up. They self-destruct.